Man, spark plugs are full of oil and crap. I think I got water in here when I was pressure cleaning it the other day, but yeah, all the valleys are full of oil. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So while I was doing my timing belt service and my seal service on the 2JZ engine on my IS300, I decided to do a separate video on modding the valve cover. So I'm going to paint the valve covers today. I'm going to show you how to change the seals, clean out the spark plug valley if you have a bunch of oil and crap stuck in there, and then change the spark plugs. So stay tuned. So I took the throttle body and everything off on this side. Ended up taking all this stuff out over here. Took it all the way back there so I could take this whole thing off and then service the valve cover gaskets, change the spark plugs in here, clean up everything. Spark plugs are full of oil and crap. I think I got water in here when I was pressure cleaning it the other day, but yeah, all the valleys are full of oil, so I gotta vacuum all this shit out before I take the spark plugs out. So I got the valve cover off, and look inside here. It looks like the last person that did anything in here, they put form in place gasket along the whole seam of the valve cover gasket, which now I have to clean all that off because you're not supposed to have any of that along the way. So that's probably what's contributing to the valve cover leaking so much. You're only supposed to put it in the four corners into the actual valve cover and then up here near the cam cap. But other than that, you're not supposed to put it along the flat edges. So now I gotta clean all this crap up. I took these gaskets out, so the gaskets aren't really that bad of condition. They actually still are soft. They're not as brittle as some people describe when they change it after a couple 100,000 miles. So obviously it looks like somebody might have done the gaskets before, but them adding a form in place gasket might have caused the leaks on this, so this thing didn't seal properly. I decided to paint these valve covers wrinkle black. Before I do that, I need to clean off all the old grease and grime and 18 years worth of buildup on here. So I used that SC200 solvent base heavy duty degreaser, and it's sitting on there right now. You can see that stuff is working really well because it's oxidizing all those spots where the aluminum and everything is, so it's all reacting and cleaning off. I'm gonna just let it sit overnight, and then I'm gonna hit it with a pressure cleaner, clean off any leftover residue, and just prep it for paint. So I let that degreaser sit overnight, and then I cleaned it today with a hose and some water and some high pressure water. It got pretty dang clean. I mean, this is all just oxidation. Plus, you know, when I put that degreaser on there, I think it accelerated the oxidation of the aluminum, so now it's very ugly looking right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this thing with a Scotch-Brite to get all this oxidation off. I'm gonna take off the PCV valve and then start masking off this thing and some of the holes. I'm gonna spray some etching primer on it, let it dry, and once that etching primer dries, I'm gonna go ahead and do the wrinkle black, get that on there, and then heat it up to get it to wrinkle. So I did one pass with the Scotch-Brite and it turned out pretty good. It got rid of all the oxidation and surface is smooth now. So what I pulled out was my Zephyr purple wheel with the green compound. So that's a professional buffing kit that I use on my wheels and other polishing. It makes polishing really fast. Basically eliminate most of your sanding when you're polishing and you let the compound and the wheel do all the work. So that Zephyr buffing pad didn't do as much work as I thought it would. This aluminum is so oxidized. All it did was just make it darker, but it did smooth out a lot of the surfaces for prepping and painting. If I was really polishing this for shine, you would actually have to sand this up to maybe 1,000 grit. And then after that, bust out the buffer and the wheels and get the compound to do the rest of the work after 1,000. But yeah, with that system, it'll get this thing to a mirror polish shine if you do it right. Since this thing is 18-year-old oxidized aluminum, the best it could do was basically just get rid of most of the oxidation. There's still some surface oxidation here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prime this with some self-etching primer first before I actually apply the wrinkle coat, so that way it has something to adhere to, and then the self-etching primer will actually take care of most of this oxidation and etch to the metal. So to paint this, we're gonna put 3 layers in a crosshatch. So you go horizontal, the first layer, vertical, the next layer, and then diagonal, the 3rd layer. I already shook the can up for like a minute. So it's been about 10 minutes, let it dry a little bit. I brought it into the garage. What you have to do to get it to wrinkle, instead of trying to bake it in your oven for 200 degrees and smelling up your house, you want to use a heat gun. So the heat gun is the trick to getting it to wrinkle. So you lightly and evenly heat up the paint and just go along the line, and you'll watch it start wrinkling up as you go. So we'll go. This is my first time doing this, so you know, if I don't get it right, then who knows. Oh yeah, it's starting to wrinkle up right here. So it took a little second, but as I start heating it up, it starts to grow as far as the wrinkles go. So some of it's actually going right now without me even heating it up. You just continue it all the way down till you get the nice wrinkle. The longer you heat it, the tighter it gets. If you want it really tight, then you just keep on heating that area again, but don't overdo it and you know, burn the paint. Man, this came out fire. First time ever doing this. I watched a couple YouTube videos and some guys online doing this, but I didn't expect it to come out as nice looking and that heat gun coming through like that. This looks like a powder coat job, a professional powder coat job. That VHT stuff is pretty damn good. So this is what I use. This is Wrinkle Plus from VHT. You get that at your auto parts store or on Amazon. I'll have a link in the description below for Amazon. They're like 12 bucks, 13 bucks for a can. Comes in black, red, and a few other colors, but yeah, this is cool, man. And it's good up to 350 degrees, so it's perfect for the engine bay. So the instructions say don't handle this for 24 hours, so you gotta let it dry and cure properly. And I'm not sure if that 24 hours means before or after heating it up, but I'm gonna leave it for at least 24 hours before I reinstall it back in the car. So I've let these babies dry overnight, more than 24 hours now, so it's all nice and dry. It reminds me of the Honda's valve covers, the wrinkle black on the Honda valve covers, so it looks pretty good. Too bad most of this is going to be covered by the intake manifold and all the covers. Little parts that you can see when the engine covers are on, looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put the factory OEM gasket replacements back on, and then the PCV valve that goes here, I've got a new replacement one right there, so I'm going to go ahead and install those on and get this back onto the car. So after all that hard work, I used that razor blade and a little bit of brake parts cleaner to help dissolve some of that form in place gasket, and I scrubbed it all off. So it's pretty much clean now. I gotta hit it with a Scotch-Brite just to make sure I get it a nice clean surface again. And you can see the valleys. I cleaned out all the valleys. I sprayed the degreaser and brake parts cleaner in there and just scrubbed it with a towel and got that screwdriver to get all the nooks and crannies, but I got most of that dirt out of there. So I'm gonna try to vacuum any other liquid that's left in there, but I think most of it's been evaporated by now. So I'll just let it sit for a little longer and evaporate, and then I'll take the old spark plugs out, clean out those holes better, and then put new spark plugs in. Man, look at these damn plugs I pulled out of here. I seriously don't think that these things have ever been replaced in the life of the car. They're still the original OEM Iridium Densos, the same ones I bought, the SK16R P11s. Those are the exact same ones that are in the car. Some of them, because of so much oil and grease been in the valley and in the hole for so long, they're starting to corrode. Like, they were pretty hard to get off even with the impact driver. I had to break it loose and then hit it with the impact driver. And then I ran out of batteries on that one, so I had to pull out another ratchet to do it. Anyways, I'm gonna reinstall those now, the new ones now. I'm gonna put a layer of anti-seize on the threads before I put it back in. If you guys remember when I was taking this apart, how dirty and nasty this valley was. Look how sparkling clean it is. Almost like it came from the factory. I just ended up cleaning it out, getting all the grime out with that screwdriver, and then I finished it up with some aerosol brake parts cleaner. The good thing with the brake part cleaner is it evaporates really quick, and it also blows away a lot of the dirt. Most of it probably goes in the cylinder, but it would just burn up during the combustion process anyways, and then the actual liquid itself evaporates pretty quick. We're ready to reinstall now. So for the spark plug service, you gotta remember to take out all your coil packs, clean them up a little bit. These things usually have a full of grease and dirt and all that stuff from over the years. Just inspect everything, make sure none of the boots are cracking, none of the wires are cracked. If they are, you might have to replace them, but most likely you won't, because these are pretty durable. I'm assuming these have been in this car for 18 years and they look pretty good condition. All the rubber's still soft, all the boots, all the wires aren't cracked, so they're pretty good condition for what they are. You know, I've already wiped it all down, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in with the spark plugs. So these Iridiums come pre-gapped. It's always good to check your spark plug gaps before you put them in. The IS300 factory spec is 043. So I got my spark plug gapper and I'm gonna check that. So before you put the valve cover back on, you got to put some of that form in place gasket right here. That's the only place that they recommend that you put it. You don't put it around the loop or any of that. And then over here on the VVTi side, right there also, you can see some of the, when I was putting these cam caps back on, some of it squeezed out. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more packing material right there on either side of these. So these coil packs need to go back in a certain order, and also the matching cylinders. I wrote it down right here. So your cylinders go, one closest to the bumper is 1 through 6, right? And each one of these coil packs has a G, a C, or an E up behind it. So what you're going to start with is cylinder 1 mates with E6, where so 1 and 6 are together. So E6 is the coil pack, and cylinder 6 plus the 1, which is the connecting plug, right? So you got C4 and 3, and then G2 plus 5. When I was taking apart my coil packs, all the harnesses broke on me. So I picked up this set of aftermarket ones from Amazon, and they were only like 10 bucks or something for 4 of them. It's universal aftermarket, probably not the greatest as far as quality goes, but for an 18-year-old car, replacing the broken ones that are in there, these are gonna be 100 times better. Everything just crumbled apart inside on the other ones when I was messing with them. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pull these pins out, and I'm gonna pull these wires out and just stick the wires that already came apart on the other one back in. So these came apart pretty easily. You just pull out that middle piece right there with the needle nose pliers, and then there's a little clip that you just bend with a little tiny screwdriver that I have here, and then you just pull the wires back, and then the other ones just push right back in. Put that white clip back in to lock it, and you're good. So I gotta do this for all 3, and then we'll go over here and install it on the car. So yeah, these things just crumbling before my head. You can just yank them right out because everything's broken inside. Mix up anything. Snap them back in. The lock back in. And perfect. Simple. Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video, and I hope you got something out of this and learned. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel if you want to check out this project or all the other car stuff that I do on this channel. So anyways, thanks for watching.